Have you ever walked into your own room and felt tired before you even did anything? Like the air was heavy, like something was off, but you couldn't quite name it. That was me for years. I cleaned, I folded, I promised myself, this time I'll keep it tidy. But a few days later, it was back to the same old mess. Clothes on the chair, paper piles on the desk, that strange smell I couldn't find. And every time I told myself it was my fault. Maybe I was just lazy. Maybe I wasn't a tidy person. But then something happened. One small habit, one tiny shift completely changed how I see my space. And from that moment on, my room stayed clean. Effortlessly. Not because I worked hard, but because I finally understood the truth. So if you've ever felt like clutter is quietly stealing your peace, or if you're just tired of the cycle of clean, mess, clean again, then this video is for you. Because today, I'm not just going to show you how to clean. I'm going to show you how to change the way you live with your space. Forever. Let's begin. The hidden stress you don't even notice. You know that feeling when you walk into your room and feel instantly tired? Not physically tired, just drained. And you're not sure why. The bed is a bit unmade. There's a pile of clothes in the corner. You tell yourself you'll deal with it later. But deep down, something doesn't feel right. Let me tell you something most people never realize. Your space is talking to your brain, constantly. And when there's clutter, mess, or even visual noise, your brain stays on alert. Science calls it low-grade stress.
Welcome.
It's not dramatic
Please come in.
like a panic attack,
We have prepared
but it builds,
tea, so relax
little by little.
and enjoy the
It chips
scenery.
away at your focus, your energy, your joy. You might think, it's just stuff, it's just a messy table. But your brain sees 50 decisions it hasn't made yet. Should I fold those clothes? Where do I put this book? Why is that mug still there? And that, my friend, is mental weight. The kind you carry without knowing it. Until one day, you snap at someone, feel anxious for no reason, and never trace it back to the room you live in every single day. But here's the good news. That weight can go away. And it starts with one small decision. So what's the first thing we can do to feel lighter, both mentally and physically? Let me take you to Japan, where I first learned a life-changing idea that made everything click. My rock bottom. The day I couldn't find my shoes, it happened on a Tuesday morning. I was already running late, phone buzzing, coffee spilling, mind racing. I reached for my shoes, the same pair I wore almost every day, but they weren't there. Not under the bed, not in the closet, not by the door, just gone. So I searched. 10 minutes passed. I opened drawers that had no business holding shoes, pulled out boxes, even looked in the kitchen. Nothing. Eventually, I gave up and wore mismatched sneakers. And you know what? The whole day felt off. Meetings felt chaotic. I was irritable, not because of the shoes, but because I started the day in frustration, disorganized, uncentered. That was my breaking point. It wasn't dramatic. No big meltdown. Just a quiet realization. If I can't find my own shoes, how can I say I'm in control of my life? That day I came home, took a deep breath, and decided this ends here. No more digging through clutter. No more wasting time. I didn't know exactly how I'd change things, but I knew it started with letting go. And that's when I stumbled on an ancient Japanese philosophy. One that's simple, beautiful, and powerful. Let's talk about Seiri-Seiton, the Japanese secret that changed everything. In Japan, there's a beautiful concept called Seiri-Seiton. It's not just about cleaning. It's about the way we live. Let me explain. Seiri means to let go of what doesn't serve you. Seiton means to give a place to what does. Together. They form a foundation of almost every clean, peaceful Japanese home you've ever seen. But when I first heard it, I misunderstood it. I thought, okay, just throw stuff away and organize better. But it's more than that. It's a mindset shift. In the West, we often focus on storage. How can I fit more in? But in Seiri-Seiton, the question is, what truly belongs here? Think about that. It's not about finding more shelves. It's about creating space. In your room, in your mind, in your life. So I tried it. I stood in my room, looked at every object, and asked one question. Does this support the life I want to live? Old clothes, books I never finished, gadgets I swore I'd use but never did, gone. And something incredible happened. My room didn't just look cleaner. It felt different, lighter, calmer, quieter. That was the moment I realized. Decluttering isn't about throwing things away. It's about choosing who you want to be and removing everything that gets in the way. Transition. So now that you've cleared the space, what comes next? Let me show you the simplest, most effective way to start. The 4-box method. The 4-box method to declutter with zero regret. Letting go is hard. Even when we know we don't need something, we hesitate. What if I need it later? But it has memories. I pay good money for that. I get it. I've said all those things, too. But here's the truth. Most clutter isn't about space. It's about emotion. That's why I love the 4-box method. It's not just about sorting. It's about making decisions gently, without guilt. Here's how it works. Take 4 boxes, or 4 areas of the room. Label them. Use this week. Plan to use soon. Forgot I even had this. Broken or won't use again. Now, go through your stuff, one by one, and place each item in a category. Let's walk through them. Box 1, use this week. Your MVPs. Essentials. Keep them close. Easy to access. These support your current lifestyle. Box 2, plan to use soon. Seasonal items. Backups. Be honest. If it's been 6 months and you haven't touched it, ask yourself, do I really need it? Box 3, forgot I had it. This one is tricky. If it disappeared and you didn't notice you need it all, still unsure? Here's my tip. Put it in a maybe box. Seal it. Mark the date. If you don't open it in 30 days, let it go. Box 4, broken or unused. Say thank you and goodbye. Even if it was expensive. Even if it came from someone you love. The memory stays. The object doesn't have to. What I love about this method is that it removes pressure. No need to decide everything right now. It gives your brain permission to let go slowly, but surely. Now that we've cleared the clutter, how do we keep it from coming back? The secret lies in one tiny habit you can do every morning in just 5 minutes. The morning habit that rewires your brain. Let me tell you a secret. You don't need a big cleaning day. You don't need fancy systems. You just need 5 minutes right after you wake up. That's it. 5 minutes. One tiny habit. But it has the power to reset your brain. I know it sounds too simple, but here's the science behind it. There's a psychological effect called the status quo bias. It means we tend to keep things the way they already are. So if your room is clean in the morning, you're much more likely to keep it clean the rest of the day. But if it's already messy, you stop caring. The mess grows. It becomes your normal. That's why this 5-minute habit is so powerful. It sets the tone. It defines the status quo as clean. So, what can you do in 5 minutes? Fold
The home
blanket,
established.
put your clothes back, wipe your nightstand, open a window, straighten the desk. That's all. You don't even need to do it perfectly. The goal is not perfection. It's momentum. And once this habit sticks, something magical happens. You'll start to feel uncomfortable when things get messy. Your brain will want to restore order automatically. For me, this changed everything. No more deep clean weekends. No more I'll do it later. Just 5 minutes. Every morning. And peace every day. But what if the real problem isn't cleaning, but the way your space is organized? Let's talk about how to give every item in your room a true home. Stop organizing. Start homing. Here's a strange truth. Most people don't have a clutter problem. They have a no home problem. You see, we try to organize everything, but we forget the most important part. Does this item have a home? A real one. A place it belongs. A place it returns to. Because here's what happens when it doesn't. You finish using something, and then you pause. You ask yourself, where should I put this? You hesitate, and before you know it, you just leave it on the table. Now multiply that by 5, 10, 20 objects a day. Soon, you're back to clutter. And it's not because you're lazy. It's because your room is missing a system of return. So here's the shift. Stop organizing. Start homing. Ask yourself, where does this item belong? In a way that's easy to return every single time. The key isn't where it looks best. It's where it's easiest to put back. Think about your keys. If you hang them by the door, no friction. But if you toss them in different places, you lose them. You waste time. Same goes for remotes, books, glasses, mail. Everything should have a default location. Like people need homes, your items do too. And here's a little rule I follow. If it's something I use daily, its home should be within 3 steps. No digging. No opening 5 drawers. Because when you design your room for returning, not just storing, you make tidiness automatic. But what if you don't have space? How can you create homes when your room is already full? Let me show you 3 simple tricks to build space, even when it feels impossible. Design for laziness. Make it easy to put back. Here's a fun little truth about humans. We're not messy because we're lazy. We're messy because putting things away is often just too complicated. Think about it. Taking something out? Easy. Putting it back? Not so much. Open a drawer. Move things around. Fold a certain way. Close it again. Too many steps. Too much effort. So here's my approach. Design your room to work with your laziness, not against it. I call it friction-free return. Because if it's hard to put back, you won't. And that's not your fault. It's just human nature. Let me give you an example. I used to store my everyday clothes, socks, shirts, gym gear, in a bottom drawer. It looked organized. But every morning, I had to crouch, open, close, arrange. Eventually, I stopped, clothes ended up on the chair, on the floor. So I changed it. Now, my most used clothes are right at eye level. Open shelf. One movement. Easy out. Easy back. Same for dishes in the kitchen. The plates I use daily? No cabinet doors. Just open shelving. Why? Because I want the act of putting away to feel effortless. It's not about aesthetics. It's about flow. Here's a tip. Walk through your room and ask yourself, which items do I use every day and are they easy to return? If not, move them. Make it stupidly simple. Because the secret to a tidy room isn't more motivation. It's less resistance. Now you might be thinking, but I don't have enough space to do that. That's exactly what I used to believe. Until I discovered 3 powerful ways to create space you didn't even know you had. Storage isn't the problem. Flow is. Let me ask you something. Do you really need more storage? Or do you just need better flow? Because here's the truth. Most clutter isn't caused by not enough space. It's caused by stuff being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Think of your room like a river. If the water flows smoothly, everything moves with ease. But if there's a log in the way, things pile up. That's exactly what happens when your items have to fight their way back to where they belong. Let me show you what I mean. I used to keep my cleaning supplies in a cabinet down the hall. So every time I spilled something, I'd think, ugh, I have to go get the spray. Open the door, dig it out. Guess what? I stopped cleaning right away. The mess stayed. And sometimes it grew. So I moved the cleaning spray. Now it lives right under the sink, within arm's reach. No friction, no delay. The mess disappears before it becomes a problem. Same thing with trash bins. If you only have one trash can in the whole apartment, guess where trash ends up? On counters, in bags, or anywhere but where it should be. So here's the shift in mindset. Don't just store things. Stage them. Stage items where they're used, not where they look good. If you cook, keep spices right by the stove. If you do craft, store scissors where you sit. If you read in bed, keep your current book within reach, not on a distant shelf. Ask yourself, can I reach what I need exactly when I need it? If the answer is no, adjust the flow. Because a room that flows well stays clean naturally. You won't even have to try. Transition, now that your flow is smoother. Let's go one step further. Let's clear visual noise and bring in calm. Starting with the 70% rule. Empty space is not wasted space. Here's a truth we rarely hear in our culture. Empty space is powerful. It's not wasted. It's not lazy. It's intentional. But we've been taught the opposite, right? If there's a flat surface, put something on it. If there's room in the drawer, fill it. If there's wall space, hang a shelf. More is better. Fill the gaps. But what if that's exactly what's making your room feel heavy? I first discovered the magic of empty space through Japanese tea rooms. Have you ever seen one? They're incredibly simple, almost bare, and yet, when you walk into one, you feel calm. Light, focus. Why? Because your mind isn't fighting with 1,000 objects for attention. There's room to breathe. So here's a rule I live by. Keep 70% of your flat surfaces clear. Desk, dresser, countertops. Leave most of it empty on purpose. When I first tried this, I was scared. What if it looks too bare? But once I did it, I felt like I had more time, more energy, more clarity. And here's another one. In storage spaces, keep 30% empty. Yep, even in your drawers, closets, bins. Why? Because space is not just for now. It's for what's coming. If your drawers are full to the brim, there's no room for new items. So when you buy something new, guess where it ends up? On the table, on the floor, in the pile. But when there's space, there's flow. A place for things to enter, a place for things to leave. Think of your room like a breath. Inhale, exhale, space. Now that we've cleared the surface, let's talk about another secret to lightness. Not just in your room, but in the things you choose to keep. Choose light. Literally. Lighter living with lighter things. Want to know a surprising reason why some rooms always feel cluttered and hard to clean? It's not just about how many things you have.
Fold the
It's
sleeves
about how
in
heavy
gently,
they are.
like this.
I didn't realize
Like
this
this,
until I
Grandma?
tried
Yes,
moving a table
perfect.
one day.
Now flip it over.
Just to vacuum underneath. It was bulky, loud, scratched the floor. So guess what? Next time I didn't move it, and the dust stayed. The mess built up, and over time, that invisible mess became normal. That's when it clicked. Weight equals resistance. The heavier something is, the less likely you are to clean it, move it, or even use it. So I started changing things, slowly, I replaced my heavy wooden laundry basket with a lightweight mesh one. My thick ceramic plates, swapped for bamboo. Big, bulky chairs, traded in for simple, foldable stools. And it worked. Cleaning got easier. Rearranging felt fun instead of exhausting. Everything felt lighter. Not just physically, but mentally, even with clothes. Lightweight fabrics are easier to wash, dry, fold, and wear. And bonus, they take up less space. Now, does this mean throw away everything heavy? No, but ask yourself, is this item helping me feel light and free, or does it anchor me down? Because the more effortless your objects feel, the more effortless your life becomes. But sometimes the easiest way to clean is not to grab a tool at all. It's to use what you already have, your hands. Let's talk about the most overlooked cleaning method ever. What if your hands were the best tool? Let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you cleaned something with your bare hands? No gloves, no paper towels, no fancy gadget. Just you and your space. I know what you're thinking. EW, why would I do that? But stay with me. We live in a time of tools. Sprays, scrubbers, vacuums, disposable everything. But in all that convenience, we've lost contact with our homes. We become distant, disconnected. Your hands, on the other hand, no pun intended, are always with you. They feel, they respond, they tell you the truth. Try this. Next time before you wash your hands, run your palm along the sink. Feel the grime, the moisture. That small action does something powerful. It gives your brain instant feedback. You feel that something is off, and you want to fix it right away. Not out of guilt, but out of instinct. That's what happened to me. I started wiping down my table with just my hand before meals. I cleaned the bathroom counter as I brushed my teeth. No cleaning session, just a moment of presence. And slowly, that presence became a habit. That habit became rhythm. That rhythm became peace. The cleaner your space is, the more okay it feels to touch it. And when your hands love your home starts loving you back. And speaking of making things easier, there's one final habit that changed everything for me. A shift so small, yet so powerful. It keeps my room tidy without even trying. Let's talk about open storage. The ritual that keeps it all together, open storage. By now, your room is lighter. Your habits are simpler. And your mind a little more at ease. But how do you keep it that way? Not just for a day, not just for a week, but every single day effortlessly? Let me share two things that help me most. Open storage and small daily rituals. Let's start with storage. I used to hide everything. Drawers, bins, boxes. It looked neat, sure, but I noticed something strange. Putting things away became a hassle. Too many steps. Too much friction. So the clutter returned. Then I tried open storage. Not perfect. Not Pinterest worthy. Just visible, accessible, and realistic. Now, my t-shirts live in a simple open shelf. I can grab one, or put one back, in a single motion. My dishes, on a drying rack that doubles as storage. No doors to open. No extra steps. Yes, I can see everything. But here's the thing. When you see what you own, you use it more. You respect it more. And you're less likely to buy what you don't need. Now combine that with ritual. One that takes just 5 minutes at night. Let everything go home. Before bed, I walk through my room. I don't deep clean. I just guide things back to their place. Keys, glasses, book, blanket. It's like tucking your space in for the night. And when I wake up, I don't start with stress. I start with stillness. Because when your space is in order, your day begins already half won. And that's what I want for you, too. Not perfection, not aesthetics, but peace. So if you made it this far, thank you. Now let's take everything we've learned and tie it together. Here's your recap. And the one mindset that turns all of this into a lifestyle